Welcome to Toffee TV. Thanks to our friends at Ladbrokes. We're here to discuss West Ham United versus Everton. It is the match preview. Obviously, it's our first trip to the Olympic Stadium.
That stadium.
I mean, obviously, we've normally got a very good record down at West Ham. I don't see any reason why that can't continue on Saturday. Their home form this season has been quite patchy, to say the least. I think they've won 5 and lost 7, there or thereabouts. I suppose the only worry is our away form isn't sparkling as our home form is.
Yeah, we haven't won away since we beat Leicester on Boxing Day. Don't think.
Palace.
Palace, sorry, early. Yeah, okay. Alright, but okay. Since we beat Palace early in January, so we haven't been great. While we've been fantastic at home, we haven't been great away from home. So something's got to give. Their home records pants like ours was last year, and our away record hasn't been very good. And I suppose that looking how well Ronald Koeman's done with Everton this season, the home form's the away form is kind of like the next hurdle that he's got to address, hasn't he? But and the players, of course, not just down to the manager. But like you said, we're normally very good away at West Ham. This is a different challenge.
Yeah, it almost lifts us, doesn't it? You know, playing there. You know, I don't know. It's like one of those fixtures where, you know, we have. There's a mental block against some teams, but against West Ham we just don't seem to have any fear, and we go into it. We're always confident as fans and as players, and yeah, I mean, you just hope that continues. I mean, West Ham this season they've really struggled. They come off the back of a really good season for them last season. Obviously, Payet was firing, and I said this at the time, and I've said it consistently over the last couple of years, and it sort of come into a head in the summer. They got ahead of themselves big time in the summer. The owners they've got there, I mean, I don't need to get into it, but the owners, I think, got a little bit ahead of their station. Fans got excited, fair enough, you would. As a fans get excited, that's their job, and they got a little bit carried away with it. And I think rather than just trying to stabilise what they've done right and just get on with it and complement the squad, they went looking for, I think they bought 11 players in the summer. Now, can you name me any of those 11 players that they signed? Because I can't really name them like anyone's made a big impact.
The only one who stands out, Zaza, and he went back.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be crap as well.
Anyway,
but they brought loads of players in, and as I say, nothing's really. They've gone backwards, I think, because of that. Because almost like they were looking for this perfect striker, weren't they, to complement Payet. And you can understand why they did that in a way, because they were desperate to keep him, and they obviously made promises to him. But it was just ridiculous. And obviously this week they've come out saying that they tried to get Lukaku, which is just
that's nonsense, isn't it?
It just baffles me. No, what baffles me more, that Karen Brady said it, and then Dingo backed it up, the manager, and you're just thinking.
But I believe, according to the Belgian reports and things like that, it was in the third. He was on loan at Everton, and then at the end of his first year, when team said he might want to leave, they made an inquiry. So it was from a couple of years ago anyway, because they know that.
Maybe it's season ticket time.
Well, listen, we know what that's. In the past, we know what's about. I mean, listen, I can understand when he been on loan at us, them thinking if he's available, it's London, he might come here, and I'm getting knocked back. He can't have a go with them for testing the water, but they haven't done it for a few years, so don't recycle a story that is a few years old to make it.
Their fans will see through that, I'm sure.
They will. Know. I mean, the problem I have with West, and I've always thought West Ham are a good club, and always been a proper club, but when they were magnificent last season, I speak to a couple of really good West Ham fans, and we know West Ham fan TV Nicky is absolutely sound, you know, as the rest of the lads who are connected with that channel are. Good lads who know the football and never got above themselves, were just like, look, this is great, we're playing great here. But too many fans, or certainly attention seekers on the likes of Twitter and that, started trying to put West Ham in a different bracket to Everton and things like that. And it kind of happened with Southampton as well. Is that you have a good season, and then all of a sudden you think you've arrived and that's it now, and it's that way. And I think why it annoyed Evertonians was, we go and have a look at where Everton have been over the last 15 years. In general, it's the top 7.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of really poor years under Roberto Martinez. Really poor. But other than that, we've been the top 7. We've been established. So to then start pulling up this faux rivalry of all of a sudden you're going nowhere and we're going to be Champions League, it set them, some of their fans, up for a big fall. And they've had the big fall this year. They've had the big fall. It was always going to be tough. Upton Park, Bowling Ground, whatever you want to call it, was a hard place to... Ironically, wasn't for us, but for a lot of teams, it was a tough place to play. You got the chicken run, it was on top of the pitch. Everything that...
It was a slightly smaller version of Goodison Park, wasn't it?
It was a real intimidating place, and if they got it right at home, it was a difficult place to get results. They've moved to somewhere where probably a lot of their fans didn't want to go, really.
It's not a football stadium.
They were sold a dream. It isn't a football stadium. And they found it difficult because it's a bit like Spurs have found at Wembley. You go there, other teams come on, your fans are miles away, and you've got this lovely big pitch, and you just think, hey, but nothing to worry about here. It almost becomes, it's not, but it becomes like, when you were a kid and you'd play a final, or you'd go to this ground and you'd be like, oh, this is boss, this. You kind of boost the away team all the time, whereas at Upton Park, it was narrow, it was tight. The dressing rooms were uncomfortable,
and they were used to it, and the away team were not.
And you come out and you go, oh my god! And when their crowd were up and screaming for every ball, it's intimidating. Here where they are now is everything.
But as I say, I think, and we seen it last season actually. When obviously, I think a lot of it came from when McCarthy done Pyatt in that game, and when he didn't have Pyatt, they weren't the same team. And then when he came back, he sparkled, and obviously Goodison when they beat us 3-2 in the game.
But that, even that was we had that 10 men after 25 minutes.
We were very, very.
But we were 2-0 up, and then we threw our joker on.
Well, 2 jokers. But as I say, what they did wrong was they tried to change things too fast, and I think I feel sorry for Bilic, because ultimately I think he's going to lose his job at the end of it, because of the way they. And as I said.
And they offered Inzaghi, according to reports today, they've offered Inzaghi the job.
And they're looking at the lad of Fulham, aren't they, as well?
And
I feel sorry for him, because he's better than that, and he's been treated poorly. And their fans will know that. But you're right, it's a lot of teams do it. And this is why I think Moyes got so much respect at Everton, because he never got ahead of himself. And a lot of our fans rightly or wrongly, wanted us to run before we could walk, and there was times when we were ready to run, and he ultimately stopped us. But for a lot of time he kept his level head, and he go out and buy people like good solid players like Phil Jagielka and people like that, where other people wanted big shiny signings. But when he needed a big shiny signing, he pulled one out that you were like, well, where did he come from? Someone like Kevin Morales. But I don't think West Ham have done that this year. I don't think they've been very clever. They've tried to get that lad from Brentford, and they tried for about 2 months to get him. And you're thinking, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a Premier League team, start like acting like a Premier League team. Not.
Yeah, but they went from him to someone like Zaza, who.
But I think they already got Zaza.
I know, but what I mean is I don't mean in timeline wise. But what I mean is what kind of policy is that, where you're bringing in this fella. I mean, they should have left him well alone after that penalty. Anyone who does that run up, just swerve. And then
they were after the lad from AC Milan, whose name's
Young.
No. The lad who used to play in Portugal. What's his name? Their main striker. AC Milan's main striker. They went after him, and basically they were after people for ages.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll come to me in a minute. He's boss. Jackson, Matt. No, the other one. But that's what I'm saying. They were after all these big names rather than going and funny enough, the one they got, they ended up getting Dingo from Hull. My mind's just gone today. Snodgrass.
That
was January.
That's what I'm saying. In January they went and got Snodgrass, and they did that quite effectively. And I think they're the kind of signings that if they got those in the summer, and got them in and got them ready for like the European football, they would have had. I think they would have had a much better season. But they just chased after all these players, and you've got the owner's son. it just, the whole thing is
that's the for me that's a big issue there. Is that
it's embarrassing.
The mouth comes out and starts running.
That's it.
Crap that he comes out with, and it just makes them look amateurish, makes them look stupid. And they're better than the.
I think they're better than that. So as I say, I think they're the reasons this season, and obviously with the stadium, the team's been all over the place. I mean, for the positives to them, you know, Andy Carroll, when he plays, is being really good when he plays, and he's a handful, and he'll be a real handful for us on Saturday, because to be honest, it's really hard to deal with what he's got. You know, he is more than just sort of like a target man. He's got a little something else, but it's getting him on the pitch, it's getting him fit. But if you've got players who read as knockdowns, and I think this is where Antonio's been quite good for them. I know he's out injured, but he's good at like reading the knockdowns and things like that. He's been good for them. Lanzini has filled in the gap of what Payet's left, because that was the other problem, wasn't it? Payet started the season, he had been made promises, and I think that was half of the thing. The other thing was he'd had a good Euros, and there was talk of Real Madrid and Barcelona and all these teams. He was clearly unhappy. It was almost like when Kanchelskis had the second season at us. It felt like that. It felt like his head had been turned and he wanted to go, and he's just going through the motions. And now and again he'd show a little bit of magic because he's capable of it. But ultimately, since he left, there has been a little bit of upturn in form. Okay, they haven't been brilliant recently. I think they've only won 1 and 6.
Yeah.
But that was the last home game against Swansea. But there has been an upturn because I think they've changed the way they play. They do play a lot more into Carroll now. They do have Lanzini who they can rely on to play in that role now. So that's almost settled them down. The problem's gone now, and they just get on with it. So I think if they keep their heads in the summer and go and buy some like they'll probably go and get Defoe. And that'll be the first target I think they'll go and get.
Be a good signing.
Be a great signing for them.
Him and Carroll, that'd be really good, wouldn't it?
But as I say, I think they've got to understand and this is not me belittling them, they've got to understand their role in the pecking order and try and chip away at that gradually. Not think you're a team that's just been promoted and then suddenly think you're going to be a Champions League team. It doesn't work like that. Okay, Leicester proved that it can work like that, but
they're an anomaly.
If you box clever, you can move gradually up the league and establish yourselves. But it's all about establishing themselves, and they haven't done that. So if they want to be a big team, if they want to,
it's built over seasons, isn't it? People like it. You know, that's what makes me laugh with Everton, when people like have a pop at Everton kind of thing. Journalists and can they do this and can they do that? If you look, football is about historical events. So if you look at Everton, like you said before, over the past 15 years, in general, they're in the top 7 or 8. So they're a team that is capable of bridging a gap. Whereas Southampton under Koeman had a couple of great years, but they needed to have then another couple of them, and then you can say, well, they're established. Koeman done it unbelievably at there, considering Liverpool just kept buying out the team. He done amazing to keep them where they were. Tottenham are fantastic. Now they're probably at this moment in time the best team in the Premier League. Spurs have been with us for years, up and bouncing around that. They've been a bit higher on occasions, they've been a bit lower on occasions. But they're there now because they've built and built and built and built. They haven't been 18th and then 3rd. Do you know what I mean? And that's what the Premier League's like. We give Liverpool stick at times and go, they're average, but they're always good enough to be in the top 6, 5th, 5, and that's the same. It's about hanging on in there. West Ham needed another season this year to be in top 8, and then maybe another season next year. Then the year after, he can go. We can bridge that.
And also, though, there's I think I know we're talking very West Ham here, but I think there's also the idea that you've got to get your fans ready and used to it. Big problem this season. They've gone from that ground to this Olympic Stadium. The people you've sat with for years, even like casual people that you sit with, because you go to the match with people but then you have people around you, the only time you see them is at the match, and you see them and you're comfortable with them, and you can say things, and you can do things, you can get up and start singing or whatever, and then suddenly you get put into a ground and suddenly you find all these people around you that mightn't have been going to a match last season, who mightn't even be West Ham fans. I've seen so many pictures early on, I don't know if it's the same case now, early on, where you've got people around them who are in different kits, these day trippers, and suddenly you're like, we're not playing well, I'm angry, I'm sitting with all these people, of course it's going to boil over. And then there was the stewarding was terrible, and they were throwing people out for nothing, and it was just a mess. And I think you've got to gradually get your fans used to the idea of not being a big club, but saying, listen, we're moving into a new ground, there's going to be teething problems. So, but they just try to do everything at once, and I think that's why they come unstuck. So, you know, I'm sure they'll not get it right, but they need to just find the level and say, well, we're gonna start from here and try and work our way up. And if they do gradually, then they'll have a good chance of sort of becoming an established team. Because really, they're not an established Premier League team yet. No matter what they think.
3 seasons, they all do it down.
You know, they've bounced around, so
they can be a bit. I mean, they're in London. They've got a big stadium. So they've got a lot of things going for them. But back on us.
Yeah. For me, what we've got to do Saturday is, this home record is absolutely fantastic. But for one thing, I have my sort of gripe is that when we go away, we suddenly stop doing the good things that we do at home, and that's one of those things we're going to have to start doing. Because if we picked up an extra 3 wins away from home, we've been right in the mix. Yeah. And there have been opportunities. Hull, Middlesbrough, and
Stoke.
What annoys me about those 3 games is, certainly the last, the Middlesbrough game for one, is the last 10 minutes. We should have been throwing everything at them to get the 3 points, but we played safe. Now, all right, fair enough. I understand why he played safe. He's probably thinking, well, the home form and picking up a point away from home, that'll get us Europe this season. But if we're going to move forward, we've got to start taking those risks. That mean in the last 10 minutes of games, we go and try and beat the team. Because don't forget as well, at Middlesbrough, it's all right saying, well, this and that. He brought Gareth Barry on in the last 10 minutes. There's nothing that says playing safe than bringing Gareth Barry on. So that's the next transition for me, is that we start going to these away games, giving the ball to Schneiderlin, get them dictating the play. We did at Palace, to be fair. Palace, which was our last away win, we dictated that game, and I never felt in that game like we weren't going to win it.
No, you always knew we'd win it. And you're right, that was the Stoke was a disappointing one for me, because although we could have been 2 or 3 down at half time, the second half we got it right, and we should have won the game, and we had chances to win it and we didn't. And then we went to Middlesbrough, who couldn't score goals. We were dreadful at home, and we did just kind of go and played it safe. It was like a safe performance. But as well as, I was talking to someone about this today, I don't put that's not all down to Ronald Koeman. No. It's players as well, because these players are so comfortable at home, so they just know they're going to win these home games. You can see with them the body language and everything. You go away, why is it we shouldn't? Good teams reflect what they do at home, away from home. Now, okay, you've always got to play a little bit differently away from home, of course. Because the environment's different, isn't it? But you still should look like the team. When I watch Everton away, we never quite look the same as what we do at home. Yeah. And there's no Anfield was the biggest example of that. We looked like 11 lads had never played together again, and from nowhere. And you're going, I've sat all week going, we can beat these if we get at them, and we turn up and we look like we've never played together. And I don't understand why, when it's on grass, it's the same dimensions, the ball's round, but then we go to Old Trafford and we look a little bit more threatening, but still not fully believing. Whereas that United game at Goodison, we'd have won that 3-0. Being 1-0 up and then breakaways, we'd have put them to the sword. So you're right, that's the next level. And I think he may have gone, I said we'd get in the Europa League at the start of the season. That's my first aim, and we've more or less achieved it. So I've done my job, what I said. Now next year, I'm predicting, not me, Ronald Koeman, but okay, I'm predicting we're going to cause real problems in that top 4, because that's what he said. The players are saying it, everybody's saying it, and we might see a little bit more of an attacking approach away from home.
And you're right, like certainly Old Trafford, the second half we just retreated, whereas in those games you need to get hold of the ball and be confident, start popping it off.
We could have pulled them apart.
And that will be the next thing, because it's got to be the next thing. Because you need to win. If you want to be a Champions League team, you've got to win
6 or 7 away games at least.
8 to 10 games, haven't you? If you want to be, if you want to be a really,
if you want to establish yourself,
you've got to win 8 to.
Well, I mean, look, we're on 57 points. We could quite easily end up with about 67, 68 points. When we finished 4th in 05, we got 61. 61 points we got, so we're well above that. When we finished 5th under Martinez, we had 72 points, and we still didn't get in.
And the season afterwards, Man United finished 4th with less,
with 60 odd. So it's showing you that somewhere between 65 and 75 points maybe is a Champions League target. To do that, you've got to win 8-7, 8 away games, definitely. And then have a really strong and we've got to solve that puzzle that we haven't quite. And when you look around the league, there's no reason why you shouldn't be really beating 20 up to about 12 away from home. Now, after that, you might have those games, you know, and that's even taking the top 6 out of it almost.
Well, look at Chelsea. Well, sorry, look at Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool have got the best record of the top 6, but they're still, you know, they're still 9 points off the top. So it shows you, you know, it's not about necessarily beating the top side, it's about beating everyone else, and that's what I'd say. That's the next thing we've got to figure out. I mean, obviously, you know, we've mentioned the Europa League situation. We are basically a win away officially from being, you know, in it. I mean, we're pretty much nailed on anyway. I mean, West Brom have to win every game. Southampton have to win 5 of the 6. And hope that we lose all 6 of the 7. Sorry, and hope that we lose all ours. So if we win on Saturday, we are in the Europa League officially. You know what I mean? So, but it's more than that. If we want to finish, if we finish 6th or even 5th, then obviously we don't have to worry about playing the earlier games, which is a big bonus as well. But that might give them the freedom to say, you know what, we're in now. We've got 7 secured. Let's go and play with a little bit of freedom to the end of the season, you know what I mean? Where we will have nothing. I mean, obviously we will have something to play for, the positions above us, but it might give us that little bit of freedom now that that's secure. Don't have to look over your shoulder anymore. That's secured, and there's no sort of better place to go than West Ham with someone like Romelu Lukaku who loves playing against them. Because this is another one. We talk about Everton going to West Ham, but when he plays against West Ham, you know, the chest comes out a little bit more. Yeah. I remember the second half at home this season, and he just tore them to shreds. He got his goal and he just tore them to bits.
Set Ross's up, didn't he, for the second? No. I think he will. He's one of those players now. We had it, didn't we, with Ferdinand and Wright and that. Where you'd just go, we're already 1 down because he'll score. You just knew. And West Ham will be like that. They look and go, well, we know we're 1-0 down because Lukaku will score. And having that in your team, and for him, going there, a big stadium, fans are miles away, it's like a showpiece game for him almost. He can go and do, he's on 24 goals now, isn't he? So chance to get on to 25 at the weekend, you know, that's a nice little target.
Listen, for me, Romelu Lukaku should be finishing the season with 30 goals.
Yeah, but there's games there that he could get 2s and 3s in before the end, there's no question about it. So, you know, you're right now, we're almost there, we're you know, barring a catastrophic finish, we're there in Europe. But we're right in the mix. We've got the same points as Arsenal. We're 3 points behind Manchester United. You know, yes, they've got games in hand, but so what?
But it's important as well because they don't. Arsenal don't play this weekend in the Premier League. They're in the FA Cup. Yeah. I think they play midweek, don't
against, they? Is it? Who is it? Somewhat. Yeah.
But it's mentally important that we get that win. So we look at it and go, well,
we win. We're back above.
We're above them.
We've got 60 points. They play Leicester City at home next week. Yeah. Leicester will have had a week's rest. Arsenal will have played a big game at the weekend, you know, and Leicester are out of the Champions League now, so they can just go and play
their best team.
Play their best team. So that's not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. So by us winning, we're asking questions of Arsenal all the time.
Yeah, I think that's really important. That when they do play their games in hand, I mean, obviously that one would. You know, they'd still have a couple more after that, but I think it's really important that when they play their games in hand, we're above them. Because if they're playing their games in hand and we're below them, then mentally
they know that
they know the stretch, they're stretching away from us. And if we can get to the point where we go into that final game of the season and
still in
we're still a win would take us above them, then you know, that could be obviously a big day.
I look at our games and you can never put games on paper and go, we'll win. But I look and think, we've got 5 games left. 3 for me are very, very winnable, which is Saturday, Swansea away and Watford at home. Yeah. I think we can win all 3 of those. Chelsea at home, I'm very confident at home.
They've got to play midweek as well, so after the FA Cup.
Exactly, so I'm very confident there. And then that sets it up for Arsenal. So why not go and win 3 and maybe draw 2 or whatever, you know, why not win 5 out of 5 and really set the bar. You know, we let ourselves down at Anfield and we were a hand of Williams away from winning at Old Trafford. So we're a good side. Saturday we've got to go out and show these what a good side we are. We're 20 points ahead of them in the Premier League. Go there and nail them. These are struggling, they're not playing well, albeit they've had a couple of games. They took 4 out the last 6, so you have to look at it like that. But they conceded late on against Sunderland at the weekend. They were nervy as anything against Swansea the week before that, so why not?
Start fast, get the crowd quiet,
get a goal early on, and then take it from there. You know, like I say, it's a game we can win. It'll be tough, but it's a game we can win, no question.
Definitely. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this game. Looking forward to it. Anyone who's going, you're looking forward to your first experience.
Isn't it 20 quid as well? Wasn't it? Was this one £20?
Isn't it like if you Virgin have given you the money
back?
Virgin
or something like that. Yeah, so that's good as well.
Yeah. Well done to Virgin.
Enjoy your trip.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching Toffee TV. We'll see you later.